Hey, hey, welcome everybody to Performance Nutrition, call number two of the year. Remember, after every week, please submit questions if you have any. You can do it in the comments, or you can email me at tom@tlperformancela.com. And you can also join me on a call to have a discussion about any questions that you have that I haven't talked about, so that I'm not always talking to myself. All right. So some of the things that we are going to cover today is just about all the influences you see, like AI, social media, learning how to make truly holistic decisions, because it's a buzzword that gets thrown around, but oftentimes it's a bit misunderstood. So without any further, let me get into my PowerPoint so you have at least something to look at besides my face. And hopefully I think that'll do it. Yeah, there we go. Whoa, we got it. Technology. Okay, TL Performance is my company. Those are my initials, obviously. And I am a King Sports international coach. Here we go. Make sure to check out kingsports.net for all your information on how to train and learn a little bit about the Mastery and King and also history of training, because you don't really get a lot of that. Especially in America, everything is so strength training focused. There's a lot more to it than just that. And even in the strength training that they do, there's potentially things that you might be interested in. I know I was, and I'm biased, but I believe will help you better than what you're getting. Okay, and this is me from a USANA convention. I gave a class for 200 USANA brand partners doing some training. We did some speed training. I actually think I'm going to cut that video up and post. But I am a brand partner with USANA. USANA is based out of Utah. There's more than 4,000 athletes that take USANA because of the quality guarantee. So what's in the bottle is guaranteed to be in the bottle. We also have a $1 million guarantee for athletes that if they ever tested positive for anything, any banned substance, that they would get paid $1 million. And that has never, ever been paid. Um, so this call is really aimed to support preferred customers and clients, but I'm making it available to other people as well, so that if you are one of those people out there that has a question of what's the best way to train, or you're looking to find solutions to your health, your lifestyle, that you haven't been able to find, I think that I might have some things to help you. And if I didn't, confident that if we work together, we could find those solutions. Okay, so today we're going to start with a holistic approach. And if you remember the call number one, we talked about the compound effect. And that's just that if you make smart decisions, even little ones, for each day over a long period of time, it can result in magnificent positive benefits for you. But if you make errors in judgment, even little ones, recurring over days, weeks, and months, it can result in catastrophic effects for your body and your health. So today we're going to talk about how to make, what does holistic mean and how to start creating a plan for that. And it's pretty simple. Holistic is meant to mean the whole, not just strength training and training, not just conditioning, not just high protein diet, not just massage, not just stretching, not just doing emotional work. It means doing everything you can do to help yourself. So ask questions. When you see people saying this, are they truly talking about holism, or are they using it as a marketing term to sell you things? And also, when you look at your life, where are the areas the opportunities for you to improve that maybe you're not taking advantage of? Maybe it's better sleep. Maybe it's finding ways to be happy more often, or to let go of fears, let go of stress, to meditate, learn new skills, take better care of your body, learn to cook. You get my drift. And also to look at those potential errors in judgment that could be hurting you over the long run, that you can stop. Because even if you don't do things that are benefiting you, one way you can help yourself is to stop doing things that hurt you. So since we are a holistic call, and we are going to talk about nutrition and all those other things, I wanted to cover aspects also such as training. And these are just some, I mentioned it before, it's not just strength training, and these different types of training fall into categories: athletic qualities, which is like Technical training. So if you played soccer, like you can see behind me, working on your skills, or your tactical training. If you're a team, how are you going to play together? How are you going to beat the other team? Your physical training is a type of training within the athletic qualities, and then psychological, working on the mindset. I have learned that nowadays people focus on the mindset when their program sucks and it doesn't work. So they blame their mindset. I'm not saying that you don't need to work on being positive and work on skills to help achieve things and not beat yourself up or not be down on yourself, but it's worth asking, could I use a better program? Because a program that creates results builds confidence. And when you build confidence, you improve the mind. And then building the mind, there's also the spirit. And I added in there happiness because that's emotional well-being. Are you really doing what you want to do? Are the things that you're interested in trying and you're too scared to try, or who knows? What could you be doing that might enhance your life experience? And what could you stop doing that would enhance your life experience? Are you open to other people's ideas that aren't necessarily your own? Are you open to other ideas that might challenge your way of thinking, whether it be from other cultures or other professions or other sports? And then what's really important is when making change is truly understanding what is the underlying cause. And that requires a bit more of a deep dive. And if you want to get into that, you can always message me directly and we can do that. Okay, so being skeptical is pretty important. I was listening. I'm a big Audible person. I was listening to a book about thinking fast. It's called Thinking Fast, Thinking Slow, and it's about our neurological functioning and how we make choices. We have our intuition, which is really based on our experiences. It's biased, but we make so many choices based on it. And then we have our other system, which is more of the aware, let me think things through. It takes a lot more work to think things through. And there aren't as many people willing to do that all the time because for some, it can be stressful. But if you're willing to do that and you're willing to get comfortable and not be attached to the answer, or in other words, not being attached to what the answer is or what the outcome is, but only to find the best way for yourself, then you can truly do a lot of things. And Jim Rohn talks about this in that he talks about a tree first. How tall will a tree grow? And the answer is as tall as it possibly can. But this is not true for humans. And this is my personal conclusion as to why that is. It's a lot easier for our brain to just make conclusions based on some bias instead of truly thinking things out. And when it comes to trends around health and fitness, it's always worthwhile, and in any other areas of your life, to ask questions about whether it's worth it to believe in this or not. And one way is to just test it out, try it, and be honest with yourself if it doesn't work. All right, and one of those, this was an older one. Superfoods is a topic that I remember. I'm in my 40s now from when I was younger. And specifically, one of them was goji berries, if anybody remembers that. If you with the idea of superfoods, it was like eat this, and this is the food that I need to add to my diet, and it's going to solve my problems. And in reality, what's a superfood? A superfood is a nutrient dense food. But does that mean it has every nutrient and all of it that you need? So if you looked at your RDA, your recommended daily allowance, and I'm not saying this is my recommended daily allowance, but is there any food that gives you all of that? Probably not. So you can have a superfood, a nutrient-dense food that might be dense in certain vitamins and minerals, but still missing in other ones. So what do you do about it? And that goes to the next one. You get variety and get a lot of variety in your diet. This is where it comes when people say all different colors. Get all different types of vegetables. If you can get at least 15 different types of vegetables in your diet, I think you're doing pretty good. Maybe more. Add fruits to that. How many can you get? And specifically in vegetables, you can break it down into root vegetables and leafy vegetables. Root vegetables are a lot higher in starches, which is where you're going to get your energy from. Leafy greens, they don't have very much of that, if any at all. They're very low in energy, but they might provide you with some vitamins and minerals that you're not getting in the other ones. Same thing with fruits. And I think I could have added in fiber in there because some vegetables might be higher in fiber and some might be less. But the key is to get a variety in your diet. And let's be honest, that makes it more interesting too. You're not eating the same thing all the time. Although, if you're a person that wants to create a habit and you find it easier to be repetitive, maybe you come up with a few options to hit all of your variety, but also give you the safety and security of that repetition. And then next, let's talk about the masses and social media and all of those things. It's easy to believe things if lots of other people are doing them, but be careful because just because many people do something doesn't mean it's the best way. And how many, let's talk about some of those on the news, for example. I can remember many times where it's flip-flopped. For example, eggs. Don't eat eggs. Eat eggs. Don't eat eggs. Eat eggs. Coffee. Coffee's bad. Coffee's good. Coffee's bad. So always take things with a grain of salt. And if lots of people are doing it, question whether that's the best thing to do. I think Warren Buffett has great advice. It's investment advice, but if you apply it to everything in life, I think it still works well. And that is when others are fearful, be greedy, and when others are greedy, be fearful. So if we're going back to being skeptical and using our mind to question, to come up with our own ways of thinking, if we see the masses are all doing one thing, it's worth asking the question if doing something different is would benefit us or is worthwhile. And we may find that what the masses are doing does work, but always ask the question. Be skeptical of what the group is thinking. And then remember that in health and fitness in particular, and I say this because my experience is in health and wellness, it's marketing driven. It's to sell products. Going to the gym is to sell equipment, to sell workout modules, to sell gym memberships. It's not, the first priority isn't necessarily the best result for the client. And that's something called a product lifestyle cycle. And that's a marketing term, basically. And it just means that a product will be new, gain some traction with the claims that it's going to solve your problem, get popular, and then eventually die off, and then they create a new one. It's not about actually solving the problem, it's driving profits. And then the next one, be aware when you're choosing things. So this means to become more self-aware about how do I make choices? What influences me? And is this influence really my own decision or was this someone else's? And it takes practice. Don't be discouraged. This can take a lot of practice. No change, I've learned this personally. Um, no change in how you think and how you act is done in one instant. So you may realize you made an error that you want to change. But I got news for you. You may make that mistake another 10, 20, 30 times before you really go, dang, I don't want to do that anymore. I've learned, truly learned that this is not what I want, or it's not helping me and I'm going to change. So don't be discouraged. I think the people that don't give up and are committed to the result are the ones that get there. The ones that expect it to happen in one go, they are a lot less likely to get there. After all, a broken watch is right twice a day. But if it's not the right time, it's not the right time. All right. And I mentioned the instant gratification versus delayed gratification in the compound effect. And what I mean is, and with that is the same, is kind of to build on what I was just talking about. With nutrition, with health, it's not like a drug. I talked about this in the previous call. You take a drug, for example, and you notice the effect within, 20 minutes to an hour, right? Changing your habits to benefit your body takes some time to slow down the train that's going one direction and start going the other. So if you can develop the attitude that I am looking for a certain result that might take some time to develop, but I won't get it immediately, that can really benefit you in life. Now, there are times where you will get an instant gratification or you will get an immediate feeling from certain types of, let's say, certain supplements. I've had that happen to me too, but it doesn't mean that it's solved all your problems. It's just a supplement, and it's just a behavior, it's just a habit. But if we do this consistently, that's when we really start to notice the change. That's where the train starts really building momentum, and that's the compound effect. Hmm, didn't work. Okay. So some current trends in AI, sorry. Ozempic is one. Now, I'm not saying that I want to be clear. There can be medical interventions like Ozempic that may help people and they may even be beneficial with no side effects. I'm going back to my previous slide to be skeptical. And why is that? It's because of the underlying cause. If you are overweight and you're having trouble losing weight, Ozempic may work for you. But does that solve the reason you got to be where you were? Does that address the cause of why you became overweight? No. And is that learning to develop delayed gratification? No. That's going to instant gratification. Secondly, it's a new treatment. So while it may claim that there's no side effect or anything like that, we really don't know because we don't have enough time to compare. So again, I want to be open to all possibilities, and that includes those kinds of things. But I also want to realize, let's say weight loss. Was I unhappy with myself? Was I unhappy with life? Did that contribute to my weight gain? Did my decisions around the foods that I ate contribute to my weight gain? Did my lack of sleep contribute to my weight gain? Did my inability to manage money or my stress over finances contribute to my weight gain? Did my poor training program contribute to my weight gain? Did my lack of a training program or lack of activity contribute to my weight gain? So if I were to just take that product and get and achieve weight loss, have I changed any of those habits that positively and benefit my life and how I live my life? No. So just be careful. I'm always in favor of a more conservative approach, but I'm open-minded to all possibilities. Strength training in itself has been a trend for a long time, in America especially. I think everybody thinks when they need to start an exercise program, I need to get stronger. That is probably the number one thing that any general pop person says. I want to build muscle and blah, 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 blah. And they're just regurgitating what everyone else says without any thought to what they might actually need or benefit from. Does that mean I don't encourage strength training? Not at all. But there are so many other things you can do to help yourself that might have a greater effect on you than strength training. And if we were to look at other physical qualities, a big one is flexibility training. Nobody does it. And I have never had a client, a new client in particular, that that had the level of flexibility that I want in someone. And when I say what I want, it's a level of flexibility that drastically increases their movement efficiency and drastically reduces their injury potential. And that's even more important because I don't care how much you can lift. This is something repeating what Ian says, and I have come to really believe this. I don't care how much you can lift. If you get hurt, then that is a failure because it's the most important thing is to be able to participate in life in the or sports or have fun to play to do what we want. And then speaking of flexibility, there's this huge confusion around mobility and flexibility. Flexibility is the range of motion available to you. Mobility is just the ability to move, and that's around a joint. Joints can lock up for sure. There are mobility things that can be done to restore some motion, but that does not change the tension around the joint and the range of motion. They're two different things. So it's important to learn the difference. Although it's easy to get confused with social media influencers who are simply looking to cash in on your emotional desire to feel better about yourself and look better, and also to just regurgitate whatever's popular to increase their views, get some advertising revenue perhaps, and make some money. So be really careful with social media. And then AI is crazy because I've seen so many of these ads now where I see celebrities. who obviously didn't participate in the ad, and it will claim some miracle cure, going back to foods, like you drink this one thing and it will get rid of diabetes, or you drink this one thing and your complete health is restored. So anytime someone makes an all-inclusive statement like that, where it will do everything for you, then you need to be skeptical. And with AI, it's tricky because sometimes these AI creations, they look very, very real. So just be careful with that. And understand that in the gym and everything else, a lot of it is driven around equipment. If it's equipment related, especially newer stuff, just be skeptical. And then also the with pro athletes and coach values, the instant access that we all have to everything they do and social media, they're vulnerable to it as well. Sometimes pro athletes get to be where they are because of genetic contributions or who knows. But it doesn't mean that they necessarily found the right way. It may be a whole lot of circumstances worked out for them. And I wanted to highlight an example because when you watch like the NFL, for example, injuries are just considered bad luck. And this is true of many sports. No one ever thinks we made an error in how we coached when these people got injured. When they lose a game, the coach will say, we made an error in how we put the players in positions and we didn't, and we need to rethink how we coach. But they never say that about injuries. Isn't that interesting? Okay, so making a foundational plan. What does that mean? Do you even make a plan? Failing to plan is planning to fail. Make a plan. Whatever you want to do, plan out how you're going to do it so that when you do it, you can troubleshoot, you can change it, but at least you're doing what you think is going to cause a certain result. And if it doesn't, you have some data to work with. But if you don't have a plan, you have no idea what you're doing and what the fuck. Record. When you record everything, you can update it and you know where to go. You have at least some hypothesis on how to change. And then, as we've talked about on this call, be holistic in your plan. Cover everything, not just strength training. Evaluate where you might be missing some things or unbalanced. And remember, do your best. You're not expected to be perfect. And do all you can in this time and place and in this life. And ask questions and get better at asking questions because the way you ask a question frames the way the answer is given. So be aware of that. Ask the question in different ways and see what different answers you can come up with. And for the options for your plan, as I was talking about, there's many different types of training, not just strength and conditioning. Choose things that are fun. If it's fun, you're going to want to do it. Plan recovery. Recovery is a part of training. Develop yourself. Find who you trust. Develop yourself as a human. Be skeptical so that you know who to trust because you're so skeptical that you can filter out the BSers. Develop critical thinking. There's a book that I loved, Mental Jogging. It's an older book and it's hard to get. And I had to borrow it digitally, but it gives you scenarios and you're pretty much supposed to just come up with as many ideas as you can to satisfy the scenario, no matter how outlandish and crazy they are. And it was really cool because it challenges you to think differently. I loved it. And then Let Go of Attachment, The Four Agreements, a great book. Agreements are these, we make an agreement to think or believe something is true, but we can always change our agreements. Would be willing to challenge that and be willing to ask questions and be willing to let go. Nothing has to be a permanent attachment or permanent belief unless you want it to be. All right, that's it for today. Now, I'll be doing another one of these next month and every month for the rest of the year. I would love it if anybody would want to join live to reach out to me, either commenting or emailing me at tom@tlperformancela.com to join the discussion. I have come up with a lot of these topics based on questions that come up in conversations with clients, but I might be missing things that you're interested in, so let me know. And until next time, thank you. This is Tom, TL Performance and King Sports International Coach and brand partner of USANA.